Hey everyone, welcome back to Yousaf Reacts. Today, we're diving into the epic conclusion of Peter Jackson's Hobbit trilogy, The Hobbit, The Battle of the Five Armies. Released in 2014, this movie brings the adventure of Bilbo Baggins and his companions to a dramatic close. So, let's get started. The Battle of the Five Armies picks up right where the desolation of Smaug left off. Smaug, the fearsome dragon, has been unleashed upon Lake Town, and chaos ensues. But that's just the beginning. The real meat of the story lies in the impending battle for the Lonely Mountain. So many factions are vying for control, and it's a spectacle you won't want to miss. Thorin Oakenshield and his company have reclaimed Erebor, but the dragon's horde attracts attention from all corners of Middle-earth. Elves, dwarves, men, and even ORCs converge for a battle that will determine the fate of the Lonely Mountain. Thorin, driven by dragon sickness, becomes increasingly paranoid and isolated. It's up to Bilbo to navigate these tensions and find a way to bring peace. Bilbo, played by Martin Freeman, continues to shine as the heart of the story. His courage and cunning are pivotal in the face of overwhelming odds. Richard Armitage delivers a powerful performance as Thorin, portraying his descent into madness with nuance and intensity. It's a tragic arc that adds depth to the film. And then, there's the battle itself. Peter Jackson pulls out all the stops, delivering an action-packed and visually stunning climax. The choreography, special effects, and sheer scale of the battle are breathtaking. Whether it's the sweeping aerial shots or the intimate, brutal combat scenes, the battle is a masterclass in epic filmmaking. At its core, the Battle of the Five Armies is about greed, honor, and the bonds of friendship. It explores how power can corrupt and how true courage often comes from the most unlikely places. It's a fitting end to Bilbo's journey, filled with moments of heartbreak and hope. As Smaug breathes fire and destruction onto Lake Town, another sort of dragon danger threatens Thorin Oakenshield, the gold madness that seized his grandsire Thror, king under the mountain of old. The people of Lake Town flee to the ruins of Dale, in the shadow of the Lonely Mountain, only to be greeted by an army of elves led by Thranduil, marching there too. Asking Thorin for their own fair share of the gold, men and elves are answered by dwarvish defiance. Thorin seems overmatched until an army led by Dwarf Lord Dane, Thorin's kinsman, approaches from the Iron Hills to the northeast. Meantime, Gandalf, imprisoned in the ruins of Dol Guldur, seems about to be finished off by the Nine Ring Wraiths. Led by the deadliest of their lot, Witch King of the ancient, evil realm of Angmar. And what on Middle-earth will happen when an enormous army of ORCs and wargs suddenly pours out of tunnels under the earth, surrounding and threatening doom to all the other armies gathered at the Lonely Mountain. ORCs and their fell beasts, elves, dwarves, men, five armies join battle. And the result will determine the fate of the North in the gathering War of the Ring. After seizing Erebor from Smaug, Smaug burns down Lake Town, and the aftermath causes the people of Lake Town to take up refuge in the ruins of Dale, which is in the shadow of Erebor. Gandalf is imprisoned by the Necromancer and is eventually rescued, and the Necromancer reveals himself as Sauron. Bilbo and company must protect Erebor from the Elves of Mirkwood, the Gundabad and Moria ORCs, the men of Lake Town. Atop the reclaimed Lonely Mountain, Bilbo Baggins and the Fellowship of Dwarves witness the mighty winged drake, Smaug, swooping down upon Lake Town in a fit of fiery rage, as refugee denizens and elves converge on Erebor to claim the realm's inestimable treasure. However, as Prince Thorin II Oakenshield rapidly succumbs to the hypnotic allure of the corrupting mounds of gold, friendships shatter over greed, and a war is brewing. And just as all races prepare for battle, Dark Lord Sauron's evil forces, led by the ORC chieftain, Azad, emerge from the dark bowels of the earth, flanking the vast battlefield. In Middle-earth's greatest conflict that will decide everyone's future, Bilbo, Martin Freeman, and the dwarves watch from the Lonely Mountain as the dragon Smaug Benedict Cumberbatch attacks Lake Town. Bard the bowman Luke Evans manages to break out of prison. fights Smaug, and eventually kills him with the black arrow given to him by his son Bane can stop. Smaug's falling body crushes the fleeing master of Lake Town, along with his cronies who were escaping Lake Town on a boat with the town's gold. Bard becomes the new leader of the Lake Town people as they seek refuge in the ruins of Dale, while Legolas Orlando Bloom travels to investigate Mount Gundabad with Tauriel Evangeline Lilly. Thorin Richard Armitage, now struck with dragon sickness, searches obsessively for the Arkenstone which was stolen by Bilbo during his encounter with Smaug. Bilbo learns from Balin Kenstott that it would be best if the Arkenstone remains hidden from Thorin, who orders the entrance of the Lonely Mountain to be sealed off. Meanwhile, Galadriel Cate Blanchett, Elrond Hugo Weaving, and Saruman Christopher Lee arrive at Dol Guldur and free Gandalfian McKellen, sending him to safety with Radagast Sylvester McCoy. After battling and defeating the Nazgul, Sauron himself confronts the group, but Galadriel uses the light of Eärendil and banishes Sauron and the Ringwraiths to the east. Azog Manu Bennett, marching on Erebor with his vast ORC army, sends bold Jon Tuatha to Gundabad to summon their second army. Legolas and Tauriel witness the march of Bolg's army, bolstered by goblins and giant bats. While Bard and the Lake Town survivors shelter in Dale, Thranduil Lee Pace arrives with an elf army, supplies and aid, and forms an alliance with Bard, wishing to claim an elven necklace of white gems from the mountain. Bard attempts to negotiate and reason with Thorin to avoid war, but the dwarf refuses to cooperate. After Gandalf arrives at Dale to warn Bard and Thranduil of the ORC army who will take Erebor, as part of a campaign to revive the kingdom of Angmar secretly led by Sauron who seeks to reclaim his kingdom. Bilbo sneaks out of Erebor to hand the Arkenstone over to Thranduil and Bard. When Bard and Thranduil's armies gather at the gates of Erebor, offering to trade the Arkenstone for Thranduil's gems and Lake Town's share of the gold, Thorin is shocked to learn of the Arkenstone in the elves' hands and he nearly kills Bilbo in a furious rage. After Gandalf forces Thorin to release Bilbo, the arrival of Thorin's cousin Dane Billy Connolly with his dwarf army worsens matters. A battle of dwarves against elves and men is on the verge of starting, when wereworms emerge from the ground releasing Azog's army from their tunnels. With the ORCs outnumbering Dane's army, Thranduil and Bard's forces, along with Gandalf and Bilbo, join the battle as some of the ORCs attack Dale. Inside Erebor, initially refusing to fight, Thorin suffers a hallucination before regaining his sanity and leading his company into battle. While the other dwarfs of the company aid Dane's forces, Thorin rides towards Ravenhill with Dwalin Graham McTavish, Fili Dino Gorman, and Killy Aedan Turner to kill Azog and force the ORC army to retreat. Meanwhile, after being banished by Thranduil, despite her and Legolas warning him of Bolg's army, Tauriel Evangeline Lilly leaves with Legolas Orlando Bloom to warn the dwarfs of Bolg's approaching army, with Bilbo following them using the One Ring. Thorin sends Fli and Clé to scout, not knowing they are about to be overrun by a second army of Gundabad ORCs. Bilbo and the elves arrive too late as Fli is captured by the ORCs and is executed by Azog. Clé, who is hiding underneath the cliff, sees his brother's body dropping down and battles ORCs in a rage. As Thorin battles Azog to avenge Fili's death, Bold knocks Bilbo unconscious, overpowers Tauriel and then kills Killy who had come to her aid. After Legolas kills Bold, the Great Eagles arrive with Radagast Sylvester McCoy and Bairn Mikhail Persbrandt, and the ORC armies are finally destroyed. Bilbo regains consciousness and finds that Azog has been killed by Thorin, who makes peace with him before succumbing to his own injuries. On Thranduil's suggestion, Legolas leaves to meet with a young Dúnedain ranger going by the name Strider. As Tauriel mourns Killy, Thranduil tells her that her love for Killy was real. Grieved by the deaths of Thorin, Fili, and Killy, the people of Lake Town, the elves, and the dwarves bury them inside the tombs of Erebor. As a result, Thorin's cousin Dane is crowned king under the mountain. the citizens of Lake Town are given the riches promised to them by Thorin. And Dain restores to the elves the riches that King Thor had stolen from them years ago. Following these events, Bilbo bids farewell to the remaining members of Thorin's company and journeys home to the Shire with Gandalf. As the two parts on the outskirts of the Shire, Gandalf admits his knowledge of Bilbo's ring and cautions him against using it. Bilbo returns to Baggin to find his belongings being auctioned off by relatives' family because he was presumed dead. He aborts the sale and tells the other hobbits to leave but finds his home has been almost totally pillaged. 60 years later, Bilbo receives a visit from Gandalf and runs out to greet him, thus setting in motion the events of the Fellowship of the Ring. The Battle of the Five Armies title is a great exaggeration of what an army entails. The movie is about more or less a skirmish with some rather imaginative weaponry. The plot goes sideways, and after 2 3-hours-long previous films we get a 2 hours and a half mess that is half completely over-the-top battle scenes and the other half people talking out of their asses. It is pure chaos, where ORCs are either mighty unbeatable beasts bred for war or cardboard armor. Wearing morons easily defeated by fishermen's wives and children, as the action demands. Things start to remind of Pirates of the Caribbean, and not only because it's the same actor doing kind of the same stuff. In conclusion, The Hobbit, The Battle of the Five Armies is a thrilling and emotional finale to the trilogy. While it has its flaws, the film delivers on the promise of an epic adventure and leaves a lasting impact. So, what did you think of The Battle of the Five Armies? Let me know in the comments below. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more movie reviews and discussions. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.